Hello everyone, and welcome back to Attack of the Grey Pile. Today we're making a diorama of an Outrider attacking a Tyranid Prime. This project is riding on the coattails of my recent success of converting an Outrider slamming into a barricade wall, launching himself into the maws of a Von Rhin's Leaper. This piece recently won second place in the diorama category at my local Hobbytown's Painting and Model Building show. The positive reception and feedback of this piece has given me the motivation to continue converting the rest of my Outrider squad to be more diorama pieces, so let's get right into it and see how I did it. First things first, let's take stock of the pieces we have and see what we can use and how we can use it. Upon initial inspection, these two look like good candidates. The one on the left I really like because the way the arm's positioned, and son of a... So anyways, red trim it is. Now that we've identified the model that we're going to be using for this, it's time to prepare it for paint. Usually what I like to do is try and disassemble my models so that then I can... Previous guy glued this all together. Alright, should be easy enough. Just grab a pin and start... Okay, that's not working either. Don't worry, I'm fully qualified, certified, novice with power tools, should not be left unsupervised for more than 30 seconds, with access to destructive devices. More to follow on that later. The big takeaway is don't overpenetrate, as you don't want to create craters in the wheels. Hopefully that worked.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
2 words, say it with me. Nailed it! Alright, so now that we've separated the model from the base, we can sort of get an idea of how much damage was caused. Honestly, I feel like a little bit of sprue goo, and it'll be right as rain. So now, the big question is, how do I want it positioned? Doing a wheelie? Yeah, maybe. That might work. Maybe if he's banking on his side? That's kind of speaking to me, but it takes up a lot of space. Gonna have to kick him off to the side a little bit. That might work. Alright, cool. Let's see what happens. Maybe it's time for me to go ahead and grab the big bad guy and put him on there. So this is going to be the Winged Tyranid Prime on the opposing side of this base. The thing is, I want to try and keep the original base for the Outrider, as if I want to try and use this on the tabletop later, it's going to have to remain on its original base. Warhammer's a little weird when it comes to it. Like, yeah, the figure matters, but the base also matters. Sometimes a roll of cool flies, but if you're trying to play something like a tournament, it just doesn't. So let's go ahead and get to disassembling this Space Marine. So I'm going to try by getting the head off. Backpack came off pretty easy. Seems like my prying tools won't get under the helmet very easily. So time to break out the destructive tools. I'd like to try and save this head, because the helmet looks pretty good. Maybe if I squeeze it this...
Stop! Stop! He's already dead!
That didn't work, but oh well. Now let's see if... Ta-da! There we go. That head's screwed. Oh well. I can always go searching through my bag for other ones. Let's see what happens. So I'm going through the small pile here. Find one that I like. Before you ask, I didn't lose it.
Oh, I'd never.
Okay, back to trying to get this all to fit on this plate. Anyways, well, maybe this'll work. I kind of like this idea. Maybe the Outrider's coming up behind, managing to get a sneak attack on Tyranid Prime, sort of like an ambush. Yeah. We'll come back to that. Maybe that'll work. Tyranid Prime needs some work. He definitely needs some cleaning. Maybe a repaint. Maybe that'll happen. Again, I like this idea, but the foot is off the base, and it doesn't sit well with me. Now to prepare the model for adhesion to the base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand a flat surface onto the bottom of the rear wheel to help support the bike in its wheelie position, as well as sand down the base and get rid of all the texture grit from the basing paint that's on there. Once that's all gone, I can start setting up the model for preparation for sprue goo and filling cavities. Now that we have the model prepared, we're going to go ahead and fill these cavities with the sprue goo. I'm going to be rather liberal here in my application so that then it fills the hole completely. Once I have filled the cavity with the sprue goo, I'm going to go ahead and take it over to my blow dryer to try and set up that front wheel just a little bit. And once that's dried up, just enough so that then it's stable, I can try and apply the back wheel to the base. Here I'm applying a considerable amount of pressure. It's about 25 to 30 seconds of me actually holding it to the base, and then it's going to be a lot of test fitting back and forth between the two models that are going to be on the base. And a little extra sprue goo may help here in this. Now that I have the model set up generally where I want it, I'm going to try and support it so that then it has time to cure. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the head. Now that I have the head mounted, I can go ahead and start painting it. I decided to change the head for a different version because I like the way this one looks more, and I feel like it would really do well on this model. For the head, I'm going to go ahead and base coat the entire thing in a very pale blue gray. This will help to set up for the shading that I want to do on the helmet later. I'm not too terribly worried about it being on the face. I'm going to go back over the face with a pure white to help set up for the Reichland flesh shade tone that I'm going to add later. That will help add the skin tone that I'm really looking for the face. Seeing as how the model has had considerable amount of time to set up and dry to the base, I'm going to go ahead and check and see if it's stable. I'm rocking it back and forth to see if it moves under its own weight, and so far it looks stable enough for me to be able to paint. Let's go ahead and get this arm off so that then I can set it up for airbrushing the primer on it. With the arm removed, now I can remove the reference post on the side of the body. This will help to allow me to articulate the arm into a position that I feel would appear more natural for the scene I'm trying to make. Using your typical blue tack or poster tack, I'm going to set up the ancillary pieces to help give me a better handle on the pieces that I want to paint without severely compromising the paint job itself. For the sake of brevity, I've omitted the airbrushing application of the primer. I'm going to go ahead and start getting into painting the helmet. We're going on with another layer. This time it's going to be that super white that I was talking about to help pick out the details on the helmet. With the helmet done, I can start picking out some of the details on the armor. The first thing I'm going to do is start picking out the trim on the right shoulder pauldron. While the shoulder dries, I'm going to go ahead and go through my extra parts and see what I can find. I just don't think the chainsword looks very good.
Uh-huh.
And I feel that a power sword, or maybe a bent elbow, or maybe both, would look really good in this model. After attempting a simple dry fit, I realized that the arm is not going to fit cleanly to the model and I need to modify the shoulder attachment. So I'm going to go ahead and cut away the excess that's on the torso and then fit the arm directly that way. With the basic fitment done, now to prepare the arm for paint. I need to sand down a little bit of this rough patch on the back edge of the shoulder and try and flush that out so it's nice and smooth. Then I can paint it. The little bead of blue tack on the interior of the shoulder where it connects will help protect the plastic so I have a clean gluing surface to glue to the body. To help give a sense of wear, I'm going to be airbrushing the shoulder white, and that will help set up the base coat for the shoulder pauldron later. Here I'm just applying a simple touch-up to the forearm to try and take care of the overspray of the white paint as well as the armor on the elbow. I'm going to go ahead and set that to dry, and then I can start working on the details of the bike. I'm going to start by painting the Aquila on the chest of the Space Marine. I tend to gravitate to this point because it's one of the larger details, and it's also one of the deeper details. It's hidden inside behind a boatload of stuff, usually on Space Marines, so I tend to pick this one out first and make sure that I do it right the first time. While I have the metallic paints out, I'm going to go ahead and paint the exhausts on the backpack, and then I'm going to paint the exhaust pipes on the bike itself. For the backpack, I'm using the same gold that I used on the wings of the Aquila, and for the exhaust pipes, I'm using the exact silver that I used for the skull of the Aquila. Usually I like to save the decals as one of the last things I do, but in this case, because I plan to do a lot of wear and tear on the model, I'm going to put the decals on now. Using Tamiya's Mark Fit Strong solution as an additional adhesive helps ensure that the decal will sit and lay flat on the paint and at the same time adhere better. Once I have both decals where I want them, I'm then going to apply VMS satin varnish on top to add a protective layer to keep from ripping and tearing the decal as I work on the model. now while those decals are drying, I'm going to pick out the leather details on the Marine. While using a cavalry red brown and a chocolate brown, I'm going to mix those two together to get the tone that I want for the leather. It's important to try and make sure that you find the color that you want, and then you can use tints and oils and washes later to really dial it in. Now that the decals have had plenty of time to set up and dry, I can begin to chase the edges of the bike with a bright gray. This technique is known as edge highlighting. This will draw attention to the differences in the geometry of the bike, as well as show wear and tear, helping to tell the story that this bike has been ridden on several crusades to fight the Xenos forces like the Orcs, Tyranids, the Drakari, and Tau, just to name a few. With edge highlighting done, now I can pick out the rivets. I like to do the rivets in gold as it stands out quite nicely on the black of the Black Templar armor. Now to put all the pieces together. Everything, after a little finagling, manages to fit together well and really sells the idea that this is a natural and organic posture for this figure. It's great to get to kit bash, but if it doesn't look organic in its environment, it misses the point entirely. Thank you everyone for joining me today and watching my video. This project is broken down into two videos as the raw video was over 4 hours in length, and I didn't want to push the limits by making a nearly hour-long video after editing. Maybe later I'll release it as one large full-length video in the coming weeks, but right now I'm just happy I got this one done for your enjoyment. If you like this new type of presentation with some jokes and memes sprinkled in, please let me know. This is the style that I've always hoped to achieve with my videos, and if you like it, I will more than happily continue to make them this way. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.